Good luck.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. My name is Katrina. I'm from Aarhus University. I've been so excited, looking forward to this meeting. Glad to see so many of you guys logging on. Really great to see you all here. Before we get started, I would like our colleague and partner Berk to introduce himself.
Thank you, Catherine. Herkese merhabalar. Berk benim ismim. ISS Turkey Yurtdışı Eğitim Danışmanlık, Akademik Danışmanlık Servisinden katılıyorum. Aarhus University Türkiye temsilcisi olarak buradayım. Sorularınız için aynı zamanda soru kısmında sorularınızı yanıtlayacağız. Ve sizinle şimdi chat üzerinden de kendi iletişim bilgilerimi ve firmamızın web sitesini paylaşıyorum. Aarhus Üniversitesi'ne yapacağınız tüm başvurularda ücretsiz olarak, bunun da altını çiziyorum, hizmet alabiliyorsunuz. Tüm başvuru konuları, akademik değerlendirmeler, hatta konaklama ayarlama ve vize süreciyle de ilgili ücretsiz hizmet veriyoruz. Back to you, Catherine.
Thank you. I'm sure Berk said very informative and nice stuff. I unfortunately don't speak any Turkish, so I don't know. As you can see, I am joining you from my home. I'm not at the office. All of us are actually still at home, but students are slowly starting to go back to campus, which is wonderful. So we feel quite confident that the campus is going to be open and everything is going to be back to normal by the time we reach August. So quite soon, thankfully. So before I actually start my presentation and to kind of get us going, I would like to just show you a brief video. It's a couple of minutes long, and it's just to give you kind of like a visual intro to the university and the city. So I got an introduction to how to share this video. So hopefully that all works. Share video.
Aarhus is the second largest city in Denmark, located right here. Don't let the small size fool you. There's a whole host of things to do in this gem of a city. And this is me and my study group after we graduated from Aarhus University. Aarhus University is a major international research university that offers a full range of world-class degree programs within arts, technology, health, business, and social sciences. And speaking of world-class, take a look at our expansive campus park. This is a favorite spot for students to take time off and find some afternoon hygge between classes. The teaching style in Denmark is student-centered with a more informal learning environment. This style promotes creativity, self-expression, analytical and critical thinking. There's a close collaboration between students and teachers, and you can see this represented by students calling their professors by their first name. That was definitely something I had to get used to, but it's the norm here in Denmark. There are tons of social activities to join in on at Aarhus University, such as concerts, international student nights, and trivia get-togethers. And remember that world-class university park? It's also home to the annual Kapsejlads boat race, which is the largest student-led sporting event in all of Denmark. The university's main campus is nestled right in the center of Aarhus. From the campus, you can bike or walk to a number of the city's main attractions, such as the historic downtown quarter, the calm, clean beaches, or the extensive natural parks. In Aarhus, public transport is super easy to access and navigate, so you don't need a car to get to all the amazing places around town. However, when it comes to transportation, the Danes prefer to bike and walk everywhere, even in winter. And I've joined them. The city offers charming cobblestone streets, impressive modern architecture, daring art, eclectic music, inspiring museums, all with a beautiful natural backdrop. And it's also the place to be if you're a foodie. In Aarhus, you'll get that big city feeling with a welcoming and homey atmosphere. As a student, you'll find the city swarming with great study spots, from cozy cafes to outdoor workspaces, and even the state-of-the-art harbor front library. And did you know that Denmark is one of the safest countries in the world? The country's crime rate is very low, and there's a great sense of trust within the community. Haven't been brushing up on your Danish? No sweat. Danes are ranked as second best non-native English speakers in the world, which makes it very easy to get around the city with English while you slowly pick up some fun Danish slang. So come join us and experience a semester at Aarhus University for yourself.
All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. I can see that at least one of you guys have been to Aarhus before, so that's really wonderful. I hope that you recognize a few things. And it's true, yes, the campus is located in this really idyllic park. So, and the city is right on the water, so it's just beautiful surroundings. Hopefully you got an impression of that yourself. So I'm just gonna begin sharing my presentation. Share a screen. All right. So hopefully you can all see my screen now.
Yes, we can see Catherine.
Sounds good. So, as I mentioned, my name is Katrina. I'm from the International Center at the university. I did my entire degree at the university myself, living in Aarhus for many, many years. And I've been working also at the university for a number of years. We have about 45 minutes today, so I'll introduce you to the university, to Denmark, tell you a lot about our degree programs, and then we have time for a Q&A. So you can write your questions in the questions section, and you can write them in Turkish or in English, and Berk and Zeynep will help me translate and answer any of your questions. And Berk can also answer a lot of questions in Turkish. I will send you an email sometime next week with a link to this presentation, so you don't need to make notes or anything as I go along. In the email that I sent you, there'll also be a link to our newsletter. I definitely recommend that you sign up just to make sure that you get reminders of application deadlines and so on and so on. So I'm sure a lot of you know where Denmark is, but it's located, as you can see, a couple of hours, about 3 or 4 hours north of Turkey, just south of Norway, and just north of Germany. So it's really central in Europe, easy to get there from Istanbul, and easy to travel on to London or Amsterdam or Oslo. So you can do some traveling too while you're here. Aarhus is located in the main part of Denmark, right on the coast. So it's about 3 hours from Copenhagen, which you might know. And it's the second biggest city in Denmark. The population of Denmark is a really small country. Less than 6 million people actually live here. The capital is Copenhagen, which I'm sure some of you have already been to. It's a beautiful city as well. As was mentioned in the video, one of the cool things about studying as an international student in Denmark is that everybody speaks English, so it's really easy to get around. So if you are lost, can't find your way, any person, you'll stop and ask for directions on the corner of every street will be able to speak English. And all your fellow students that you hang out with in class and after class will speak English. So it's just really easy to get around and to integrate. As was also mentioned in the video, Denmark is a very both safe, secure, and equal society. We're one of the safest countries in the world, and also one of the happiest countries in the world. I think this year, we were beaten by Finland, but we often find ourselves at the top of this list. And consistently, we have the world's lowest level of corruption. What I also think I would like to point out just to you guys is that we actually have a quite good Turkish community in Denmark. So about 70,000 Turks or people of Turkish descent actually live in Denmark, and we have quite a few mosques, including 40 Turkish mosques in and around Denmark, and there's a really big community here in Aarhus as well. So if you want to keep in touch with your home country and your roots, lots of opportunities to do that while you're studying here as well. So just a bit more about Aarhus, which is might not known to people around the world, but it's definitely known to us here in Denmark and to people around Scandinavia. It's a very old city, but we have a really young population. It's Denmark is actually the youngest city measured by age, and it's because we have so many educational institutions in Aarhus. We have just a lot of students. 52,000 students actually live in Denmark, so that's also why we call us Denmark's student city #1. Aarhus is a really old city. As you could see in the video, we have these beautiful old buildings, cobblestone streets, and the city was actually founded by the Vikings back in the year 948. So I know that you're also from an old country, so this might not impress you as much as, say, American students, but it also has kind of everything, you know, history, nature, young people, and everything that goes along with that. Aarhus University is obviously what I'm mainly here to talk about. It's a public research university that was founded in 1928. Back when it was founded, I think 64 students were enrolled that first year. We've grown quite a bit since then, so now close to 40,000 students are actually enrolled at the university, and 12% of these are international students, so we have a large international community. A lot of exchange students come every year, and obviously lots of international students doing an entire master's degree. Also important to know is that we are a top 100 university, so that means that we rank in or around the top 100 in many of the big rankings. So here are just some of the current rankings. We are especially proud, of course, to be ranked as number 69 in the Shanghai Academic Ranking of World Universities. But you can also see here we rank quite well in other rankings as well. About the teaching, so what I hear from a lot of international students, what they find really makes Aarhus stand out is that the research-based teaching. This means that every class that you go to will be taught by an active researcher. So someone who's really a specialist in their field, who has a PhD. That just means the standard of teaching is really, really high. Also, what makes teaching here stand out is the very informal learning environment. As was mentioned in the video, students call professors by their first name. So it's not Mr. Jensen, it's hey Lars. So very casual also, especially in the programs that I'm going to be talking to you about today. There's a really close connection between teachers and staff and students. So what the professors like to say is that they have an open door policy. So that means if you have trouble in a course, you just go and knock on the teacher's door, and you know, or if the door is open, you just kind of walk in and ask them your question. Also, what's really nice, I think, about a lot of the programs that I'm going to be talking about today is that teachers will actually sit with you and kind of design the program with you. So there's just a really strong connection. They'll also really like to involve students in their research activities. So if you have time and are willing to do so, you can be active in research collaborations. So working with a research group, doing a research project, and professors really encourage that. They believe that students should be part of the research, active parts of the research. So the format of the classes, as I guess at most universities, is a mixture of big lectures where it's perhaps 100 students in one room, and smaller seminars, lab work. And then what's really nice at Aarhus University is that we do a lot of group work, and you have a lot of projects. I think most students in these programs will say that they rarely do an exam or a project on their own. They always do it in collaborations, and it also helps you, or helps students in general, prepare for their careers afterwards, where you will be working with other people. Also really nice for you to know, and I saw one question about housing. So we do have a lot of services for international students, so really anything you could expect. So at the International Center, we will help you with your visa application form for residence permit. We have practical information of any kind you would like. So need help finding a used bike or anything like that, we will help you. We also do a bunch of social events and other stuff. Obviously, we have a career service. So we have career advisors at the university. We have a job portal. We do job fairs, workshops, networking events, and much more. And we're really making an even bigger effort these years for international students. So we created this whole program called Head Start, just for international students who are looking to work in Denmark either as students or after they graduate. So lots of opportunities career-wise. So housing, we have a full housing service, and we'll help you find housing in Aarhus. So for many, many years, I want to say at least 10 or 15 years, we've had a housing guarantee for international students. What has happened this year and last year, as I'm sure you know, is the COVID-19 situation. And because of that, because of COVID-19, we've had to reduce the number of apartments, rooms, units that we actually have access to as a university. So because of this, we don't have a housing guarantee anymore, but we do have a housing service, and we do help students find accommodation. And we expect that this year, at least 50 students will be offered housing through the university, and all other students can apply for housing through either the local municipality or on the private market. And we expect all students to be able to find affordable student housing. But unfortunately for 2021, and I expect also for 2022, we no longer guarantee housing, but we do everything that we can to assist you in finding housing. And our aim is obviously to reintroduce our housing guarantee. So that's what we're working towards. I hope that answered your question. As was also showed a bit in the video, and what is also really, really important when you choose a university is the social life. Obviously on-campus social life, but also off-campus. What I think makes a huge difference at Aarhus University is that we have small study groups. So your study group will be typically 3 or 4 students from your degree program. Students that you'll meet with maybe on a daily basis, and you help each other with your homework, or you do projects together and kind of hang out. So that's, I think, as a student, that is kind of like your small core base of people. To meet lots of other people and to kind of hang out and do more fun stuff, I encourage you to go to the International Night. It's every Tuesday at the Student House. The Student House also do other activities throughout the year. So they'll do parties and concerts. On the weekends, they will do trips to Legoland or plenty of other stuff like that. So trips to Copenhagen they'll organize. Yeah, lots of stuff. Also important. And a thing that I think is quite quintessential Denmark is our Friday bars. So each department at the university, so the engineering department, the computer science engineering department, and so on, they all have a Friday bar. So most Fridays during the semester, there'll be a bar that's run by students where you can get a coffee, buy a cheap beer, hang out, catch up with friends. Professors sometimes go, so you can hang out and have a casual chat with them as well. So it's a great way to finish off the week. Sometimes it'll just be very casual, and then other times it'll be like a proper party with a band and stuff. So that's how I remember spending most of my Fridays during my 5 years at university. In the video, you also saw pictures from the regatta. I've also included a picture here. This is a must go-to event of the year. Really the highlight of every year is the regatta. You just have to be there. That's all I want to say. In every September, we have what we call Denmark's largest Friday bar, which is just a big Friday bar where you hang out with your friends, have a drink, watch music, dance. And then during the day, there are sports activities. So people play volleyball, hockey, football, you name it. So really like an excellent and fun day, and just a great way to start the semester and start your degree. Excuse me. Obviously, lots more activities going on off campus and on campus. Just briefly, the living costs. I think these, it might be a bit more expensive than what you're used to at home. It kind of depends on, so Denmark has, and Scandinavia in general, has a reputation for being expensive. So whether it is expensive depends on where you're from. So most US students actually find Denmark quite cheap, just because housing is a lot cheaper than at most campus cities in the US. Australians might also find it cheap. If you're from Eastern Europe, you might find it more expensive. So it all kind of depends on where you're from. What's good, I think, about Denmark is that something like healthcare is covered by the Danish state, so that's free. Public transportation is quite cheap. If you get a bike, you have basically free transportation year round. So plenty of ways to save money during the semester. And we have also a lot of tips on how to save on like food and daily expenses. So at this point, you might not be thinking too much about your career. But I think what's really great to know is that with a graduate degree from Aarhus University, you will be a very attractive candidate for a lot of big companies. As a graduate from the university, you will be equipped to handle very complex problems and to create new solutions. And I think that's what makes a graduate from Aarhus University kind of stand out and makes you attractive to a future employer. If you're interested in working in Denmark, it's also really nice to know that we have low unemployment, and that goes especially for the STEM programs. We also have a very high starting salaries. And most importantly, I think for a lot of people at least, is that we have excellent work-life balance. So you're not working 50 or 60 hours per week. Instead, you're working around 37 hours a week. That's the general max. And then everybody in Denmark is guaranteed 5 weeks of paid leave every year. And that's no matter if you're in your first year or in your 20th year at a company. You have 5 weeks of paid leave. So that's really, really nice to know. If you're interested in a career in research, we also have a lot of great opportunities. And you can actually apply for a PhD to start after the first year of your master's degree. So, and what's also nice to know if you're thinking about this is that all PhD positions are paid positions, so you don't pay tuition. We actually pay you to do research for us and to teach and so on and so on. Okay, so moving on to more about our programs. So what I'm here to talk to you about today is the degree programs that we offer at Natural and Technical Sciences. We have a total of 20 degree programs in English. I will focus mainly on the 6 features programs, which are 5 engineering programs, and then 1 computer science program. Oh, this is a list where you can see all of the different programs that we offer. So, computer science and engineering, this is what I'll focus on today. The computer science program is really one of our flagship programs at the university. It's the best computer science program in Denmark according to Times Higher Education. It's the 3rd best in Scandinavia, and it's the 100th best in the world. So we are really, really proud of that. The computer science department, and actually also the computer engineering program, is based in the IT park. So in this IT park, there are a bunch of large IT companies as well. So there's a really close collaboration between the computer science program and all of these large companies. And the companies actually, they formed this kind of network called Destination Denmark, and they do regular events on campus just to recruit computer science students who are very, attractive for these IT companies. What's also really nice is, as an international student at the computer science department, you're actually offered your own office space. So you'll have a little space at the department to share with other international students that's just yours. What might also be cool for you to try and attend if you decide to apply to computer science is AU Hack, and this is Denmark's largest and greatest hackathon. So hundreds of students hanging out for a weekend, just coming up with crazy stuff is what I'll say. Yes. So this is just to give you a kind of visualization of the program. So the program is 2 years, 4 semesters. And the first 2 semesters, you pick a specialization. And you can see a list of the different specializations over here. And then the 3rd semester, you have electives, or you can do a 3rd specialization. It kind of depends on what you're interested in. And then finally, you have a thesis during your 4th semester. What I'll say, I'll get into the specializations a bit more. But in terms of the electives, this is also where you can easily do like a research project with a local business and with a research group at the department. So that's a really cool opportunity. The same goes for your thesis. This is where you have an entire semester just to dive deep into a project that you think is really relevant, and you'll be assigned a researcher to supervise your project, and you'll be able to do this project in collaboration with a business as well. So this is a really great opportunity. What I can also mention, just the 3rd semester is also where you actually have the opportunity to go on exchange if you're interested. So these are the specializations that we offer at the moment. I'll just leave this for a bit, so those of you who are interested can just see, quickly see the programs or the courses that are offered under each specialization. So I know one that's really popular, just because we have some really great cryptologists at the university, is the Cryptology Specialization that you can see over here. Right. As mentioned, I'll also send you this presentation so you can have a longer look at these specializations. Finally, a couple of other specializations that are also available at computer science are these 2 specializations within bioinformatics. So I'll just leave that there for a second as well. All right, that was the computer science program. We also have 5 engineering programs. So biotechnology and chemical engineering, civil and architectural engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. So these are the 5 engineering programs that we offer. So they're all structured in kind of the same way. So this is also similar to computer science, where you have the first semester is made up of compulsory courses and specialized courses. Same goes for the second semester. And then you have the third semester with electives. This is again where you can, a lot of students will choose to do a project in collaboration with the local business. You can go on exchange. You can take courses from other departments. So if you're interested in taking courses from computer science or physics or nanoscience, you can do that. It could also be business courses. You could do like a management course. Thesis, again, your first semester is where you just, you know, do what you've been kind of dreaming of as a project to do. And it's often where your kind of entire degree kind of comes together and where you find out what you're really interested in. I can also mention that for all of these programs, something that we're really big on here in Denmark is sustainability. So there will be a sustainability aspect to all of these programs. So for instance, civil and architectural engineering, it's a lot about indoor climate. For mechanical engineering, they do a lot of research on windmills, and they also have, you might know, Vestas, which is a really big windmill manufacturer. So Vestas is located in Denmark, actually in Aarhus. So they do a lot of close collaboration with them. So and as you may or may not know, Denmark is kind of on the forefront of sustainable innovation and has been for many years. So if that's something that you're interested in, and I guess also to be kind of ahead of the curve, it's a good idea to maybe consider this when you pick your program. So I'm not going to go into too much details with the specialized courses for engineering, just because there are a lot of them. But I will just show you some examples of the specialized courses that you could do with these programs. So for biotechnology and chemical engineering, it could be water treatment technologies. For civil and architectural engineering, it could be energy efficient building envelope design. For computer engineering, it could be machine learning or network security. Electrical engineering, it could be, again, network security, wearable electronics. For mechanical engineering, it could be robotics or wind energy or renewable energy systems. So just to give you an idea of kind of what courses are offered. So I can also, I think in this presentation, I'll include link to quite thorough descriptions of each program, so you can see which electives and specializations are available for each program, so you can have a kind of closer look by yourself. And yeah, so I don't know if we could maybe just take like a quick break to see if there are any questions. Give ourselves a little breather before I move on to the admission section. I don't know, Beck, you've been keeping an eye on the questions. Is there anything that we should cover?
Yes, indeed. It's a good call to stop now, because there are some questions regarding the working opportunities and the permissions given, actually. I'd like to just give a live answer here so that we can discuss how long the students can work after graduation, what is the permit given, and what about the career services of Aarhus University what support is given by the university to the students who are studying there?
Yeah. So we actually have one of the most or one of the best kind of green card opportunities for international students. So after you graduate, you're actually allowed to stay in Denmark for up to a year to look for employment. Unemployment among engineering students is, I think, less than 2%. So hopefully it won't take you a year to find a job in Aarhus or in Denmark if you're interested. Our career service, we have a central unit that does a special career advice for international students, where we organize Danish classes. We all offer all kinds of workshops, networking opportunities, job fairs, all this stuff. And then also each faculty at the university has a career unit where they offer to have kind of, you know, like advice conversations with a career advisor. So lots of opportunities, lots of assistance. I think actually one of the main problems I know, especially at computer science, is actually that students end up getting a job before they graduate, and we prefer students to graduate. So it's kind of like a reverse kind of problem. I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Beck, I think you're muted, so if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Please let me know when you would like to proceed to the presentation then, but yeah. Now we can, I think, answer a few more questions. I think it was important to answer that. And there was a question I actually answered, but still in detail, I'd also like you to contribute. It was about computer science program. So Kerem asked about the computer science after graduation working prospects. And especially he also asked the work permits, but specifically he would like to know more about computer science prospects in Denmark.
So of the students that graduated last year, so in 2020, what I heard from the head of the department is that actually 100% of the students got employment. And I think 3 of those were hired on as PhDs at the university. So far, or at least for last year, it was 100% who got employment from computer science specifically. Yeah. And again, I'm not trying, I can't guarantee, obviously, a job for anyone, but what I can guarantee you is that there are really great opportunities.
Finally, I would also like you to contribute on this question from Kubra, starting a live answer on it. 12% international student percentage was impressive for her, so she would like to know which countries are they from mostly.
Yeah. So it's either, so most international students are, I think the number 1 country, I think, is Germany. And I think number 2 is China. 3, Spain. And then it goes with, I think, Poland, the US, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So Germany, Spain, China are the biggest groups. And then we have students from, I think, about 120 different nationalities at the university. So students from all over the world. And that's also very important to us as a university, is that we don't want just to have one big group of, say, Turkish students. We want to have a lot of Turkish students, a lot of Chinese students, a lot of Australian students, a lot of, Danish students also. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so there was a question I also would like to contribute myself, and then we can proceed to the presentation. I also answered a few questions about accommodation and living, but for minimum requirements of GPA, well, it's like usually it's 3.0, like any prestigious in any prestigious academic universities in the world. You should have more than 3.0 GPA, but somehow in Turkey, it depends on the university, because sometimes your university gives you or your department gives you 2.8 to 2.9 with a 70 or 75 percentage. And then in another university, you get 3.1 GPA, but you hardly have 70%. So the percentage is one thing, and your cumulative GPA in the system of 4 is another thing. And the most important thing, in my knowledge, is your credit evaluation. Depending on which program you're applying to, your credits must be perfectly fit into your desired program. So, Catherine, would you like to say anything about that?
Yes, and that's a really good and important question. So I'm glad you asked that. We do not have any GPA requirements for any of our programs, so you can apply with any GPA. So that's not taking into consideration. The GPA is only relevant for the scholarships. So we have a limited number of scholarships, and the scholarships are awarded to the students with the highest GPAs. So that's the only place where it's relevant. And then as Berg said, what's really important is that you actually have the right amount of credits. So I think I'll just start my presentation now, because I'll actually show you the credits that are required. So I will restart that. All right. So, admission. The application periods. This is just some quick facts. If you want to start in August, you should start your application this November, and then make sure to submit it by January 15th. You can actually start, so our engineering programs, they begin both in August and in January. So if you're able to or interested in, you can actually apply in August to start your studies in January. So just make sure that you meet the deadline September 15th if you want to start in January. The tuition fee for all of these programs is the same. It's 14,500 euros. And I just checked the conversion rate today. The Turkish lira is not doing too well at the moment. So it increased quite a bit since we last did this presentation, but it's 140,000 lira per year now. As I just mentioned briefly when we did the questions, we do have tuition fee waivers, but they're only available for select students. So I can't give you any specific numbers, but it's typically no more than 2 students per program who are offered a tuition fee waiver. We don't have full scholarships, so you still need to be able to support yourself for the duration of your degree. There's a small but there's an application fee of 100 euros, and this will be returned to you if you're admitted and you begin your studies. So the admission requirements, and this is what we briefly talked about before also. As you can see, we do not have a GPA requirement, but we have quite strict requirements otherwise. And therefore, we also reject quite a few students. So this is something to be aware of. It is quite competitive in that sense, that not very many students actually do qualify for this program. So for both computer science and engineering programs, you need to have a relevant bachelor's degree. So relevant bachelor's degree would be for computer science, bachelor's degree in computer science, or information technology, some kind of related field, and the same goes for engineering. In addition to that, you need to have an English language test. So if you do the TOEFL test, you need to have a score of 83, and for the IELTS test, the score needs to be 6.5. So this is something that everybody needs to be able to document. This is the most important thing. Then we have very specific admission requirements, and this is where it can be tricky. So for computer science, you need to have 90 ECTS in total within these specific courses. So you need to have 20 ECTS programming, 20 ECTS computer systems, 20 ECTS theoretical computer science, 10 ECTS HCI and experimental systems development, and then in addition to that, 20 ECTS basic math, probability theory, and statistics. So not living up to these requirements is actually where we reject a lot of students. Also, I have to mention that for computer science, even if you do live up to the admission requirements, they have a limited number of places available, and they will pick the best students. So even though we don't have a GPA requirement, it will still only be the best students who are admitted to this program. But there's no cutoff, and it's an assessment made by the academic staff. So for the engineering programs, you need to have 60 ECTS within the relevant subject area. So if you want to study mechanical engineering, you need to have courses that are relevant to mechanical engineering. So engineering courses, basically. And then in addition to that, you need to have 20 ECTS math. And that's, again, calculus, statistics, and there might be more specific requirements depending on which engineering degree you're interested in. So I have a link down here, so you receive that as well, where you can see the specific requirements. But again, this math requirement is also really strict. I would encourage you to, even if you don't live up to the requirements 100%, still apply. You need to be close to, but let's say that you have 18 ECTS math. The professor might still assess that you did some math in a different course, or that you have covered all the relevant content, and might make an exemption. So I would encourage you to still apply, even if you don't 100% meet these admission requirements. So this slide should actually say Q&A. It doesn't, but now we have time for a Q&A. I'll just stop sharing my screen right here. Oh, I got assistance. So we don't have too much time left, but Zainab, I don't know, is it okay for you if we take a bit of extra time for questions?
Sure, Catherine.
I think we covered almost everything, Catherine.
Perfect.
But still, there was a last-minute question, and I think we can just simply reply on it, because there is an opportunity for very successful students in Aarhus University to get a scholarship. Yeah. And what sort of scholarships are available for candidates? Can you briefly explain once again for our candidates?
Yeah. So we have one scholarship available, and it's a tuition fee waiver. So that just means that we'll waive your tuition, and that's it. So you would still need to apply for or to be able to fund your own living expenses. So that's the one scholarship that we have, is a tuition fee waiver, and there are limited numbers. But I'm sure Beck can tell you about national opportunities to apply for Turkish scholarships, or
Well, for scholarships, actually, there are also other opportunities. If you would like to apply to a domestic scholarship, we have this YLS'ye scholarship from our Ministry of Education, but this requires you also to be able to come back to Turkey. And also Jean Monnet scholarships are an international scholarship, and there's a specific Turkish program on that where you will have to take an exam. First of all, apply and then take an exam. And these are the most, in my opinion, strongest options for you to apply. And I'd also like to say that as final words, who are seriously considering master's degrees here, to consider Aarhus University as a great alternative to UK, US as well, because it's like if you'd like to go to a university in such high rankings in those countries, you'd have to pay, I think, twice as much or maybe triple. So that's an important case. But also there are within our students even this year and over the last 2 years from other faculties, we received 3 scholarships from Aarhus University successfully. And for your applications, evaluation, accommodation, and visa, we support you free of charge. How is the pandemic situation in Denmark? Is there a hybrid education or an online education? Last minute, one more question.
Yes. So at the moment, we're actually starting to reopen. So shops are open now. Restaurants will open in the next couple of weeks. And so Denmark is starting to reopen. They expect to have everybody in Denmark vaccinated sometime in July. So vaccinations are well underway. So in terms of that, we're definitely going in the right direction. All teaching at the university right now is online, but students are starting to be allowed back actually this week. So the guidelines are kind of strict right now, where students need to be tested. There can only be, I think, 20% occupation at the library and so on and so on. So it's, following very, very strict guidelines, but definitely by the time that we've reached August, September, I feel confident that we will be able to have just regular classes with everybody being vaccinated. I don't see why we wouldn't be back to normal. Yes. Perfect.
And I also would like to add on that, currently you cannot apply to September 2021. Your new goal is to apply to September 2022.
Yes.
For which your deadline is January 2022, an early deadline, I always tell to students. So it's a very good job that you participated into this webinar, because it's time to consider what you should do in order to apply on such early coincidence like to before January 2022. So I hope, I don't know, what do you think, Catherine, but I think the pandemic will not be such a big issue until then.
No, definitely. And again, you're totally right. We are talking about starting in September 2022. And as I mentioned, we also have, for the engineering program, you can actually start in January. You just have to apply by September 15th. So that's definitely something to consider if you're graduating this summer, to apply to start in January. We have a lot of international students who do that. So it's maybe a cold month to arrive in Denmark, but also a beautiful month to arrive in Denmark. So
I think we should thank all the participants. And do you think anything? Do you have anything else to add?
No, the only thing is I will send you an email. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. I'm sure Berg said to contact him as well. And I'm really thankful that you all stayed here with us and listened to me. And thanks so much for all of your questions. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. And I hope that we will see lots of applications from all of you. Thank you. And thank you, Berg and Zeynep as well.
Thank you very much. Ben de çok teşekkür ediyorum tüm katılan herkese. Umarım başvuru süreçleriniz için görüşüyor oluruz ilerleyen süreçte. Başarılar diliyorum. Good luck.
Yes, thank you very much for your answers, Catherine and Berg. Also, could you please share an email address that the participants can directly contact Catherine?
I'm writing it right now.
Okay, thank you very much for your great presentation.
Thank you.
It was a really informative session for the attendees. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Aarhus University ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için Katrin'in ve Berk Bey'in paylaşmış olduğu mail adreslerinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda sizi altıdaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you again, you guys. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.